Thank you for your interest in the Henry County Chamber of Commerce's Candidate Conversation Series. We have reached out to candidates in contested races throughout Henry County, Georgia, from congressional to General Assembly to county. While this election cycle is unusual due to the COVID pandemic, we appreciate those candidates who have taken the time to speak with us about those interests important to Henry County residents and employers. Remember, it's your voice, it's your vote. Together, we can continue to make Henry County a great place to live, work, and visit. Please vote.
I am Barbara Ingram with the Henry County Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome you here today for another installment of the Candidate Forums. And for over 50 years, the Henry County Chamber of Commerce has acted as a voice for the business community, and we have been committed and continue to be committed to ensuring that we have a favorable economic, legal, and environmental climate for our business community. And that's why we're happy today to welcome Karen Mathiak.
But you did great. You did great.
Thank you.
It's a hard one.
It is. It's spelled many ways we can approach that. Karen Mathiak.
You got it.
The representative for District 73, which includes Henry County. And she is up for re-election and is on the ballot for November 3rd. And welcome, Karen, to the Candidate Forum with the Henry County Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Barb, for being so innovative and so into how we can get information out now. I know with COVID, people are a little antsy, which we should be. We should be. So thank you. Thank you for opening Henry County up and allowing us to be a part. As you know, I represent Hampton.
Correct.
And that's my little niche of Henry County, which I truly love. Thank you for having me.
Could you tell us the expanse of your district? Of course,
Hampton. Okay, I got elected in 16, sworn in 17. So my experience with Hampton has been so good. It's that you think it's that sleepy little town, but it's not. It's a happening little place that really welcomes businesses and has moved forward. As you well know, Atlanta Motor Speedway being there, they've kind of taken a hit this year, as you well know, and we're hoping that speedway is going to be back into the speed pretty soon.
Very soon. It's a very vital part of not just Hampton and Henry County, but for this area, the Southern Crescent and Georgia. They have done so much for our community.
Yes.
We love the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yes.
We have a few questions for you that I think the voters in Henry County, you're going to be on our ballot, would like to know what you think about small businesses and what are your top 3 priorities for small businesses if you are elected again.
Okay. A lot of that, Barb, is really kind of local issues. At the state level, we're doing everything we can to attract business. As you well know, we've got so much on 155 in Henry County, and I know that we'll probably talk about growth a little bit. That feeds into our Hampton area as far as growth in residential. I think that Hampton is, like I said, with that downtown area, smaller businesses that just shore up Hampton. So Henry County has always welcomed business, and they have done well.
So you mentioned Highway 155 and the growth in that area. Is that something you're able to impact at the state level?
Absolutely. The Atlanta Transportation Department is looking at 155 very heavily because of the port in Savannah, all that new truck traffic coming through our communities. It's caused quite a stir, especially with all the warehousing along 155. We've got to plan, and I think we've planned well. It's just not happening fast enough for any of us. With the traffic slowdown during busy times, early in the morning when people are trying to get to work and school, and then again in the evening. We're looking at more rail, which I think is going to take the pressure off. So I'm looking forward to some of that developing a little quicker is what I'd like to see.
So is there anything that you can do to accelerate that timeline?
I wish I could. We push DOT as hard as we can, and that's what our Henry County delegation works hard at. That's the good thing about our delegation, is we do work well together on both sides of the aisle. That's what makes the steam in Henry County, and hopefully that'll move, like I said, move quicker.
So that is a point that I'm going to make sure that our audience is understanding, is that you work with both sides of the aisle, and that has been the catalyst for development and issues that you've been addressing that impact.
Yes. Spalding County is still looking at that new airport for us on that northeast quadrant, and that will impact 155 also. So there's some things that we've just got to keep our eye on. And again, I think our delegation's doing a good job at watching those big, because that's a big project. And I think we're doing well at watching that and making sure that we're getting the best development we can, especially in that 155 corridor.
And so,
Safest too. I should bring that up too, because I've got friends of mine that their kids are getting their driver's licenses, and driving up and down 155 can be a challenge. And as a parent of a young kids driving, you can imagine every time those kids are out, those moms are holding their breath until their kid gets home. So
it makes the headlines all the time, doesn't it? And not always in a good way, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Spalding Airport, I know we have a lot of growth here in the county, in the transportation and the logistics arena. So, and it impacts 155. So
Yes.
all the growth in the areas that we want to focus on, but then we're just not seemingly able to make the progress that we want in the timeline that we want, or that we need, or that would satisfy the people who live in Henry County.
Right.
We're dealing with this transportation issue in a real way every day.
Right. And it seems to me like a lot of times our residential gets ahead of some of the industrial, and then you've got that fight between the safety of our residents when we're bringing that truck traffic through. And again, I believe that with Norfolk Southern and Norfolk Southern and CSX working together, I want to see a little more rail, because I think that'll take, again, it's taking that pressure off of our residents.
Yeah,
Brings in great jobs, and that's what we're looking for, is that economic growth for our citizens. We want our children to stay here. We don't want them moving off somewhere else. We want our families to be able to thrive within our communities.
Well, some of these transportation projects that would alleviate some of the headlines, the negative feedback that's going on as a result of all of the growth, which is good for the county. But the transportation has got to move faster. And I know that there are, the Atlanta Regional Commission and others that are just the Henry County delegation is intensely focused on. But what you yourself said it's just not moving fast enough.
It doesn't. And I think that maybe that would be a good focus for us, for the delegation come January, for us to, and maybe we can even do it on bright, once we get through this election and really focus in on pushing DOT in specific areas, because you know as well as I do, that one corridor of 155 towards 75, that I avoid that at all costs, like you and a lot of our citizens do, but some people can't. That's where they work. There's subdivisions in through there. So that probably needs to be one of the top of our list. It's a good problem to have, Barb. I'm so glad to have some of that economic growth. I love the South Side. Not like you have heard me say that before. I want those dollars to come to us too. So.
Well, one of the questions I have for you concerns some new economic drivers for this area and to help Georgia continue to be competitive in the global marketplace. What do you think would make Henry County, what will you do to make sure that Henry County is central in making Georgia remain competitive?
I want to stay plugged in as well as we can with the Port of Savannah. We have good relationships with the House reps over there. And again, we were talking about our delegation and the relationships that we've made throughout the state. And I think we've done well at that. We listen, and we're a part of some of the planning that happens from there, because it goes slap through our communities, that truck traffic does. So I think that's the key, is making sure that we do have that relationship with the planners over in Savannah, so that we have a say-so to speak.
And as we remain competitive and we continue to grow, and we have you supporting that, but you also have residents. That's got to be a delicate balance. And so I keep harping on the fact that the transportation issues continue to remain the same, but we're definitely growing in Henry County.
Right.
So how do you, what do you say to the residents of Henry County regarding the fact that we continue to encourage building and development and growth, but our transportation issues seem to very, very slow to be resolved?
Right. I hate to use the moratorium word, because boy, everybody starts getting panic mode then, but it's something that we may have to look at for a short period. Most moratoriums are short period fixes. That's all they are. But again, if we don't stay plugged in and within the planning phases of that traffic coming from the East Coast. And that's what I would say to our residents, is we are staying as solid as we can at the state level and pushing the DOT. And again, Barb, just having this conversation with you, that will enable the delegation to keep that in our main focus, or at number one priority.
For Henry County.
Because it's not just, remember that I represent 3 different counties, and it's not just Henry County's the first one that gets hit, because they're on that eastern side of the state. Spalding gets hit, and then guess what? Fayette gets hit too, because all that traffic's moving west. So
through here.
yes, through us in Henry County first. So
okay, well, I'm going to just give you this question as it was presented to me regarding the growth and the recent growth. Henry County has seen significant growth over the past several years. And this growth has brought with it issues and frustrations. And in your opinion, as an elected official in Henry County, What do you believe your role is in addressing these challenges?
Ooh, that's a tough one, Barb. Part of that is very local, and the local zoning boards have got to stick to their plan, that their 5 and 10-year growth plan that they've put together. That's not just zoning that put that together. They present it to the commissioners. The commissioners, I know Henry One spent, and you know that you put that together well, that whole Henry One concept of everybody's involved, every community's involved. It's not just McDonough, it's Stockbridge, it's Hampton, it's Locust Grove. It's putting those growth mechanisms. What do we want to see where? Where is our recreation going to be? I was over in McBrayer Park and the soccer complex just recently. We've spent some great dollars to attract that resident to our communities. You want places for our children to grow, and I think we've done a great job there. What we have to do now is push, like you and I have just talked about, DOT, and making sure that we can get them moving as fast as we can.
Absolutely.
So again, let's make that our priority, Barb. I'm going to commit to that with you.
Now, you know that we passed here in Henry County a 5-year SPLOST estimated to collect over $200 million, with approximately half of that proposed for transportation-related projects. What steps will you take to ensure all our transportation needs are being addressed?
I'm going to sit with my delegation and push as hard as we can. Again, I want to be prepared when that port opens and that port starts pushing towards us. I want us to be prepared. I don't want us, calling the DOT at the last minute saying, okay, what are we going to do? Now we've got all this truck traffic and we're not prepared. And I think that's going to be my push, is getting ahead of the game, and especially because we know it's coming already. With the SPLOST money, let's make sure that it gets spent for what we marketed our citizens to support. That's something very local, that everybody pays into. That's the beauty of those SPLOST dollars, but let's make sure it goes to what we've marketed our citizens, that's what we're going to spend it on.
Absolutely. So you mentioned capital projects, one in Spalding. What do you think what is the most pressing capital project needs for this county, for Henry County?
For Henry, I think the 155 corridor. We talk about new growth along 75. Ooh, boy, don't we want that? But we have to, again, we've got to be prepared. If this is what our zoning and commissioners are looking at, and again, we get communicated to, we can push DOT and some of the other growth mechanisms, water, sewage, sanitary sewer, electricity. Oh, we didn't even touch on broadband yet. And that's probably going to be my #1 push. Henry County is very lucky that they've got the broadband that they have, especially with our kids being home. And, I mention children all the time with school, and somebody said, but wait a minute, what about businesses? And our small businesses can't run if they can't get on the internet. So that's another big red flag for me.
So in terms of broadband, educate me on what it is that you want. How would you focus on that to make connectivity better in Henry County?
I think Henry County's got a good handle on it. Spalding County on the western corridor, we've got some spots that were blank. Woolsey seems to draw from Fayette, so they seem to be okay. Pike, Lamar, Meriwether, parts of Coweta, the western parts of Coweta. I don't have control over that, but I can support my brothers and sisters that are in that quadrant, so that that we want to stay the best. Georgia wants to stay the best to do business, live, work, and play. That's our big mantra, and we've done great at it. However, if we can't support our small businesses, schools, how do we stay ahead of that game? How do we attract? So that's where we're at with that. And
So,
I think Henry's done a great job. We haven't had the problems in Henry that we've had south of the city, south of Henry, south of Fayette, Spalding, excuse me.
well, from a small businesses here in Henry County perspective, why should small business owners support your campaign? Small businesses.
Small businesses, because I'm a small business owner too. I am a chiropractor by trade. I have a family practice. I know what it's like to be a small business and have COVID hit us. I was an essential worker, so it didn't hit me as hard. However, when we came out of those last 10 days, we were in quarantine too. So I lost a little bit of time. Small businesses we have a whole different set of challenges. So, it's advertising dollars, it's rent issues, it's tax issues, it's employee issues that I fully understand as a small business.
Can you name some small businesses that are supporting you or supporting your campaign for re-election?
Yes, I can. In Hampton, just about everybody in Hampton, I try to stay as plugged in as I can with them. I'm very proud of the sexual assault, Southern Crescent sexual assault community there that Gayla Nobles has put together. She serves 11 counties, plus she just opened another facility in Milledgeville, and she serves our communities well. I wish we didn't need her. I wish that was a business that we didn't need, but I'm very proud of the quality people that she has employed and takes good care of our people in need. Small business, Chris Moore, our sign guy, he's another one that, boy, if you need a sign, you need a banner, you need anything, he is the cat's pajamas when it comes to putting things together.
Hey, it's good to have a sign guy.
Yes, but he does more than that, Barb. He's even put together fireplace mantles that in some of the older homes that they've been trying to renovate. He can even put that back together.
Amazing.
Yes, it is amazing.
Well, that's great that you have small businesses in your corner, and that's why
Yes.
I asked you that question, because
Right.
one of our focuses is to provide support for small businesses.
Right.
And COVID has hurt small businesses so very much, and we're not out of the woods yet.
Nope.
So
We're getting there though. We're getting there.
we're heading in the right direction, I do believe, and thankfully our spread has stopped, is leveled out. I hope it stays that way,
Right.
leveled out. But I'm thinking of policy changes right now and in the near future beyond COVID. What policy changes do you see are going to be necessary to encourage broader employment and to help our small businesses bounce back?
Boy, that's a tough one to bounce back. Let me think. I think just getting our doors open helps. The ICU, the small optometric center in Hampton, moved from one building to another, and we were there for their open house on Saturday. That's a perfect example of being able to bring in an extra employee or two, even if it's part-time people, that they'll be able to enjoy being able to have those extra people there to help grow their business. Tax, we've got to keep our tax base as low as we can, property taxes as low as we can, so that our businesses can function and not worry about having such great tax bills.
Absolutely. Well, that is one of our focus here is not just chamber members, but the business community at large, that we are here for making sure that the entire community, um, ensuring that we have um, a climate that is going to benefit the small businesses as well as the large businesses.
Right,
That tax
right,
base is very, very important.
right.
So in closing, Karen, Ms. Mathiak, um, throughout this election cycle, this is something that I hate to have to bring up, but we have witnessed races, candidates that are seeking to divide the population. And they have been very contentious in their desire to serve the people. And we believe that is dangerous. And it actually leads and adds more challenges to this community, to our community. And I'd like to know what is one positive thing that you can share with us in respect to your opponent?
We pray together in the Capitol every morning. And we have across the board pastors that come and speak to us and bless us every morning.
Mhm.
And every morning they give us a piece of who they are in their spirit and in their guidance, and something that we can draw together. And just about every person in that chamber goes and shakes that pastor's hand. Why? Because it's something that draws us together as a body that helps our state be the best we can be, for not just for economic growth and money, but it brings us together in education. It brings us together in sports. It brings us together in who we are as a community, who my next door neighbor is, and who lives up the block. And once we start loving each other on that level, that those pastors impart to us every morning for 40 days, it's pretty difficult to walk away and be ugly. So that's I have to hang on to that, Barb. That's the meat and potatoes of living in a community that has respect for each other, regardless of race, regardless of sexual innuendo. I'm not even sure how to say that anymore. But
Love is important.
that's right. That's right.
I
And you know, Barb, here's the other thing too. We may not always agree on something, but you know what? Tomorrow we may be on the same team pulling that little red wagon the same way. And we can always find something in common and move from that point forward. And I think that's what Henry County's done. I think that's what
smart,
we're
Karen.
doing.
I'm glad to hear you say all of those wonderful things. And that's a very good way to end this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
On a
Can
note-
I say one more thing that we forgot to talk about? Our teachers. I want us to be very, very cautious and very mindful of our teachers. Those ladies and gentlemen are working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Some of them are online, some of them are in school, some of them, I don't know where they're at, but God bless our teachers. They've been on my heart very heavy lately. So I just ask you to think about them.
Here, Henry County is currently involved in determining who the teacher of the year is going to be from Henry County. And then I think there's teacher of this region and teacher of the
Right.
state and beyond. And so we've been recognizing our teacher of the year from each high school, each elementary school and middle school all month long. So if you see teacher of the year candidate, give them a shout out. Look, you'll see them on the chamber. We are picking them up from the Henry County School Facebook page and reposting them on our page. So
Wonderful.
we are supporting the teachers and the Henry County school system.
Wonderful. Well, I just wanted to give them a shout out because I want them to know that they're heavy, heavy, heavy on my heart. And I'm so proud of them. They have stepped up to the plate, and
It is very touching.
yes,
But they-
yes, very proud, very proud.
For the children.
Yes. Thank you so much for putting this together, Barb. It's been a great
I'm glad.
opportunity.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome.
Uh,
All right.
That day, November 3rd, is coming up pretty fast.
Right. Remember, Mathiak, District 73.
Awesome.
See you at the polls.
All right, you take good care.
Thank you, Barb. You too.